Hello guys, and welcome to this week's lap guide for the Sampsoid LMP3 Championship. This week we're going to the Nurburgring, and thank God it is the BES WEC layout with the fast chicane, because this car would probably not survive the other layout, so it's a good choice by the organization. I love this track. It's one of my favorites in iRacing. It makes for good racing. If quite a couple like good straights, and it's very technical as well. It's especially in this car, it's very low traction, so I do think this probably will be the hardest combo that you guys had so far, because there is just basically no traction in the first sector. But we'll walk through that. So as always, I'm gonna show you guys my raw lap, and then we'll talk you through it. So my fastest lap was a let me actually check. 1:49.821. It was the last two laps of my stint. It's a pretty good lap. So I'll show you the lap first now.
Your lap time was at 1:50.3. Sector 3 times okay.
Repent, you're in a couple.
Sector 1 time is good. Sector 2 time is okay.
That was your fastest lap of the session.
You've just done a 1:49.
Alright, so that was the lap. I'll hop over to iRacing and we'll have a look. So we'll do the cockpit lap. So for your first braking zone, it is instantly the heaviest braking zone on the track. It's a pretty difficult one because you want to maintain some speed, but it is pretty hard to slow down because it does go downhill a little bit. For the whole track, if you're not feeling too comfortable, I'd always say just brake a little bit early. You lose a lot less time rather than trying to brake late and locking up your tires everywhere, because I did watch the Road America race yesterday, and the amount of front locking I saw on a lot of people was a lot. So for the people who suffer with that, I would just suggest taking it a bit more easy. You're only roasting your front tires, and the lockups will only get worse through the stint, and you'll just get slower and slower. And like even I was experiencing some lockups here and there on this circuit because there is just not a lot of traction. So for the first braking zone, it is this is a low fuel, so it can brake a bit later, but I would say it's directly in the middle of the 150 board and the 100 board. You can basically see like the edge of the grass here. That's uh that's the braking marker I would hold on to. I think it's a pretty good one. Like I brake a little bit later here, but it's because I am on low fuel. It's a pretty heavy braking zone, but you cannot go to like 90, 95% like you normally can in such a braking zone because it's going downhill. So you need to be a bit careful. Just be easy, like be hard on the brakes, but still like easy, and don't start turning in too early because like if you see now my wheel like I'm completely aimed straight. My wheel is straight because you need all the braking power you can get. So you just wanna brake straight. Look how late I'm turning. Like I'm turning like halfway of this like grass patch. Because you just want to, like, I'm still holding this high amount of braking, which is pretty difficult to do. Normally you would start bleeding off now, but because it's such a heavy braking zone, you need to keep this in. And if you want to do this, you cannot start turning too early because you will lock up your fronts, maybe even spin out your rears if you're not careful. So yeah, so keep straight line braking until very late. And then when I start turning in, you see I'm directly lifting off the brakes. You wanna you wanna really aim for this inside. You basically wanna touch the bollard with your right tires, and you wanna have a very minimal speed here. Like you cannot go too fast because this is such a tight corner, and you need all the rotation you can get. You can do two things. You can shift down to first to get some more rotation, but when you throttle out, you have to short shift to second. You cannot throttle in first because, again, you will get no traction. You're just burning up your tires. TC will kick in, and it just uses your lap time. I found it easier to just stay in second, especially later in the stint, because yeah, it's a little bit more understeery, but it's a lot more stable. So I would say just keep it in second and deal with the understeer. So again, as you see here, I am basically touching the bollard with my right hand side tires. The bollard is fake, it's only graphical, so you cannot hit it. You cannot go too wide because there is I can't remember. I haven't had one, but I think there's a 1x or even a slowdown there, so do not go too narrow. And this is like full turning, so 90-degree turning. And then it's just because I have such low speed here, I'm going 73 kilometers an hour. You can start feeling out your throttle pretty early, and especially because you're in second gear, like you don't have a lot of torque, so you need to throttle quite early to get the pace up. So you can throttle pretty hard even when you're turning. You just need to feel out when the torque band basically kicks in, and that's when you have to straighten up your wheel. So again, like I have a plateau throttle here again, like 70%, and just feeling it out until you can feel the traction coming back and you straight line out your wheel, and you can go to full throttle. but that's it's really it is a very like feeling thing. You just need to feel that your fronts are biting and that your rear, especially that your rears aren't sliding, because yeah, then you will die. But in second gear, I find it pretty easy. You just need to be a little bit careful. Next corner, you wanna open this up quite a bit. We have quite a bit of downforce in this car, but of course not mega amount. And like from this corner out until like this whole S's thing, there is just no traction. You can use basically the same as in T1. You can use second or third gear here. Third gear is a lot easier, but again, you get quite a bit of understeer, but it is the easier option. I use second, especially in these last couple of laps, because I just wanted the speed. But in race conditions, I would probably always use third. So you want to go it pretty wide here, and then you want to really attack this curb, because this corner is a lot narrower than it seems, and there is a very aggressive 1x on the exit on the outside, which is pretty difficult to avoid, and especially in quali, that's going to be probably the main contender to disallow your laps, because especially with high fuel and cold tires, you will track out a lot here. So you attack the corner. I have a little bit of throttle in, and at this point it's just feeling out like like when can you throttle, when is the car gripping. So I'm just building up my throttle, and as you see here, like I'm steering pretty heavily because I want to follow the line of this curve, but the car just naturally understeers. It's just how it is. And the rear is very loose here as well. That's why I definitely advise you to use third, because it's just it's a lot safer. So then I start straightening out my wheel, full throttle. Like I can feel when I can stay in track limits, and I think this is about the limit. I think it's half of your car, like half over the curb or something like that. Like, but you cannot go much wider than this because you will get a 1x. And then the next corner, this is these two corners that's coming up next are the most difficult corners on the track, because there is absolutely no traction. You have to brake very early here, a lot earlier than you think, because the car is so twitchy and you do not want to be stomping on the brakes. You wanna you wanna really feather the brakes here, keep the steering wheel kind of straight, because yeah, it's just super slippery here. So I start braking around here. It also doesn't help that there is like no braking marker. So you just have to kind of figure this one out, but just take it easy. Do not try to push this, because the harder you push this, the easier it goes wrong, and it's just you lose lap time anyway if you push too hard. So as you see here, no more than 50% brake, and when you're at that full brake, like the 50% is the max, you need to have your steering wheel straight. And the moment you want to start turning, you need to bleed off the brakes. So a lot of trail braking, and you really want to attack this inside as well. You can go with your left wheels onto the rumble strip here, but you cannot touch the grass because that's a 1x. So again, you just kind of need to feel for yourself where that limit is, but you wanna keep this as narrow as possible, because the next corner is just a joke, to be honest. So as you see here, keeping it super narrow. I think again, like especially if you use the middle cockpit view like I do, your wiper is a very good indicator. So my wiper is like on the red and white, and if you keep at the middle there, then you should be fine. Just leave a little bit of margin, of course, because iRacing is iRacing. So you want to keep it super tight here, super tight, because you need to open up this corner. And here, it's just This is all second gear, by the way, because I tried first, but it's just too sketchy. And here is just feathering the throttle, and you need to just keep your car in line because the car wants to go everywhere but the right place. Basically, you'll find out yourself, but there is just no. It's like driving on ice. Honestly, it's very bad. So you just like I'm nowhere full throttle. It's all like 50% throttle, and just getting through it is the main objective. Again here, I think again use the wiper, stay on the left side of the curb basically. Do not go over the middle because there is a 1x once again. And here, like you want to turn because there's a 1x if you touch the grass here. But you don't want to turn too much because you have no traction. So it's a bit of a middle ground game that you have to play. Like you need to aim for this light green stuff because that's not a 1x. So it's playing with the throttle, not a lot of steering input, and then just feel out where you can go. So this is very on the limit. If I go a little bit further to the left, it's a 1x. But if you avoid the grass, then you can go pretty wide here. Like this escape road, like I don't know if there's a 1x somewhere, but yeah, you can go all the way outside of the white line. It's fine. There's no 1x. Just make sure again here is a 1x. So you need to be back on track before this ends. So again, I'm cutting it very close here. This is about as far as you can go. This corner, my braking reference is just the start of this other layout road, and your actual braking point is around the first cone. So you're in fourth gear here, and you want to go to third into the apex just to get a bit more rotation. This is not a super difficult corner. So again, braking not too hard. You just want to get some weight on the nose to help the car turn in. Go to third gear. And here again, you want to attack the inside curb because for the next corner is very narrow again, so you need to be on the left side of the track here. You cannot track out too wide because the weight distribution will just be all wrong and the next corner will be impossible. So you want to stay very much to the left here. And again, this is a very deceiving corner. It's very narrow, so you want to brake pretty early as well. So I'm starting to brake like maybe a car's length before the red and white curb actually ends. Again, you want to brake in a straight line because you want to open this corner up because it is very narrow. So you want to late apex this corner. Again, a lot of trail braking is needed. You want to get as close to this curb as possible, but you don't really want to ride it because that will unsettle the car, make you bounce, and just traction control will play up, and it's just not good for your lap times. I do actually go over it here, but this is not the ideal line. You want to have your wheel like basically here. So I just over attacked this inside a little bit. So just stay a little bit further to the left so you don't go up on the high side of the curb because it's not helpful. On exit, use as much track as you need. Just be careful because this is the fix set. If the middle of your car goes over the highest part, you will bottom out a little bit. It doesn't damage the car, I've found, but it definitely loses you some speed this straight after. So it's better to keep a little bit further back from the middle of this, because if you don't bottom out, you just get a little bit more straight line speed. the second hairpin, basically. It's a pretty heavy braking zone. Again, it's downhill, so these braking zones are all pretty tough. The heavy braking zones are almost all downhill, and that makes it a lot harder. Braking reference is the start of the concrete here, or whatever it is. Maybe a little bit before, just to be a bit more cautious, because this is front lock-up central, this corner I found, if you want to attack it too much. So this is, again, a pretty heavy braking zone, but you cannot go full because it goes downhill. It's again the same thing, braking heavy in a straight line. And you don't want to attack the inside too much. You want to miss the apex a little bit because you need room on exit. So you cannot follow the curb because you will just not come out right at the exit. So you brake in a straight line. As soon as you bleed off the brakes, you start turning. And as you see here, leave a little bit of room between you and the curb. You don't want to attack this curb, not yet at least. You want to start attacking it like around here, because then you can straight line. You can basically straight line out. As you see here, now when I'm halfway through the corner, I start attacking the curb, and again at throttle plateau, just to feel out when you can go full throttle. And as soon as you go full throttle, it's still a lot of steering input, but there's quite good traction here. There's probably a little bit of TC intervention, but I think it's worth it to like basically throttle through that, because you need the early throttle pickup. Again here, this bottoms out the car a little bit, but again, there's no damage. If you want to stay a bit more to the right, that's probably better, but it's a very you need to count like the pluses and minuses, because if you want to keep more to the right here, you need to throttle later, so it probably evens out quite a bit. The Schumacher S's are easy flat in this car. Just attack the inside curb. Do not go over it too much. Just follow the curb basically. You can put your wheels onto the red and white, but don't put your wheels on the concrete above basically. You do have to be careful here. If you touch the gravel here, it's a pretty hefty slowdown. So you just take care in the race that you always leave a little bit of a safety net. Just stay a bit further to the middle of the track, because you do not want to get that slowdown in a race, because that will really suck. Here, just extend your line. Do not try to follow the curb here, because that's just too much steering input. You lose speed. So just let the car track out a little bit, and then we go back to the right. This is this braking zone is basically the middle, maybe a little bit before the middle of this patch of like cobble, whatever it is. Try to make your car as wide as possible, so just you can go over this a little bit, just to make the corner a bit more easy. So here, halfway through, you start braking. Pretty heavy braking zone. Uh, do not be tempted to go super hard into this corner, because again, you need to sacrifice this corner a little bit. You need to stay in the middle of the track at the exit to make the next corner, because you can go a lot faster through this corner, but then you will track out to the outside there, and it will just make the next corner a lot more difficult. So just take this one a little bit more easy. Heavy braking. Attack the inside here. Just put your left wheels onto the green. just to hook the car around a little bit. It's again like 75% throttle. Just wait till the car grips up until you can go back. And then, because like now I'm halfway track and I'm barely making it to the outside, but you need to make it to the outside, otherwise this corner is going to be way too difficult. So you want to go back to the outside here. There isn't really a braking reference here. Like this is pretty much a guess for me. I'd say a little bit before the section here, just start braking. And again, you want to keep this pretty wide. You don't want to attack this corner too early because you want to throttle out as early as you can because it's a pretty long straight after this. So just wait on the throttle until you can go full. This wasn't an amazing corner in this lap because I was just, you see here, I'm just waiting too long. I go up a little bit and I go down a little bit again, so that's just hesitation. But I needed to because, as you see, I have to use all the track, so it was not the best corner. And then we have one of the most fun chicanes in iRacing, in my opinion, especially if you have a little bit of downforce, like in this car. You can basically fly through this corner. The only issue is there is a 1x on the inside and there is a 1x on the outside, and you need to respect those because you'll get them pretty often if you don't commit to the perfect line, basically. The braking zone is between the 100 board and the 50 board. It's like basically slap bang in the middle, I think. Oh no, it's way later even. This is on the later laps, of course. But just keep the reference like halfway through the 50 and 100. It's a pretty hefty braking zone, like 70%. And then you really need to commit to the inside, but you need to figure out for yourself where the 1x on the inside is, because if you figure out this off track, then the outside one will not be an issue anymore, because if you hit this apex correctly, then you won't track out to get a 1x on the exit. But if you miss this, you almost always will get a 1x on exit. So I think again here your reference should be, your wiper should be like not over the middle of this curb. It's basically it. So you can kind of jump the left side tires over this bit. That's fine. And here I would just it's probably again the same, just a wiper over the middle of the curb. Just don't go too far to the right because it's an easy 1x to get, and it's a very lazy 1x to get as well. And here, I would suggest staying off this curb entirely because it makes braking for the last corner very difficult. If you're on this curb, the fronts will lock very easily because the weight is just all janky and the car isn't straight basically, so I would suggest staying off it entirely. Like with GT cars, you can easily go up on this to make the corner wider, but in this prototype I definitely wouldn't. And for this corner, again, it's a very deceiving one, it's a very tight one, so you want to start braking very early once again, because of course there's a super long straight after this, so you want to get the best exit possible. Oh. So again, not much to go on for braking markers. So you just kind of have to figure this one out. It's very hard to see, but it's basically when when the pit entry starts to widen, when the line starts to widen, basically you need to start braking. Again, a 70% brake and a lot of trail braking after. You want to attack this curb. I attacked it a little bit too much. Like if you see here on exit, the car just bounces a little bit, and that instantly loses me like half a tenth. So you want to be this close, but just a little bit further off, so you don't hit that bump on the exit because that will lose you time. But you do want to keep this very, very tight because the exit, again, like this car understeers to the exit, and it's just go and throttle as early as you can and use all the track on the outside. And that is the lap. Let's do a chase cam real quick. So T1, we brake between the 150 and 100. Very hard braking, straight line braking, a lot of trail braking to get the nose in, attack the inside bollard, and straighten up your wheel as fast as you can so you can go on throttle. Again, you end up on the outside here. You want to track back to the outside on this one. Attack the inside curb a lot here. Just find your balance and find when you can throttle out so you don't get the 1x on exit. Again here, so this is where I always see the limit. It's the middle, it's basically the diffuser or whatever it is. It cannot be over the middle of the curb. That's the 1x. Here, brake very early, very light. Not a lot of steering input. The car is very sketchy here, so just take it easy. Here, just hold the inside, hold the inside. Just go as slow as you can, basically, to hold the inside. Then we attack this one. Again, you have to find out what the 1x limit is here because you need to use as much as you can. There is no traction here, so straighten up your wheel as fast as you can and aim for the outside. Here, as you can see, I missed the green with like nothing to spare, and that's the 1x limit. And track out, go back into the track before that ends. Braking zone, first cone. Attack the inside curb. Hug the inside, hug the inside. Stay all the way out wide. Brake very early here. Make this corner as wide as you can. And throttle out early. Again, a downhill braking zone, so sketchy braking zone. Fronts will lock very easily. So start braking here. Straight line braking again. Keep a little bit of space between you and the curb here, just to get the straight line out. And throttle as early as you can. Schumacher S's, easy flat. Just mind the gravel on the outside because that is a slowdown. As you see here, I keep quite a bit of room between me and the gravel. Braking zone, basically in the middle of this. Brake hard, don't go too fast. Attack the green on the inside. Go out wide here again. Make a wide turn here. And throttle out as early as you can. Here for the chicane, braking reference in the middle here, but braking is a bit later. Attack the inside here. Be wary of the off track here. Do not touch this curb too much. And again, widen this corner a lot. And find your throttle point and throttle out as early as you can using all the track on exit. And that is the track guide of this week. I hope you guys will have a good race. I hope this lap guide will help you a bit. It's a very tricky combo, so just take it easy because it's a very technical track, although it doesn't really seem like it, but it really is. It's one of the more technical GP tracks in my opinion. So have fun Sunday. Maybe I'll drop by, I don't know yet. And I'll see you guys next time.